Hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to the garage. This is my 2022 Tesla Model Y long range. It does not have the full self-driving package enabled. It does have the full self-driving computer, but it only has the Autopilot, which right now when you buy a car from Tesla, the cars include the base Autopilot, which I think is sufficient. I don't think it's worth the upgraded cost for enhanced Autopilot or full self-driving, which are respectively $6,000 or $15,000 upgrade. I learned a new thing on how to activate the cruise control, the Autopilot, that I want to show you in the Model Y. I'm kind of embarrassed to share this with you because it's like it's kind of basic, but this might be helpful for some people because I thought it was kind of a pain to activate the cruise control, but it actually is easier than you think. So let's get in the car and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm in the car here, and this is the gear selector. This is just on the right hand side. There's just these two stalks, and then you have a couple scroll wheels right here. But I want to show you something that I've recently learned about this. So if you see here, this is the park. You just push that in. To get it out of park, you push your foot on the brake. You go up to, drive is down one. You have to go. There's like a detent. There's like a stop point where you have to push through to go to drive, and then back to park here. To go to reverse, you do the same thing. You go up a little bit, but it has to click. So all the way up, that's reverse there. Okay, so when you're driving, so if I'm in drive right now and I want to put it on cruise control or the Autopilot, I thought before that I had to go all the way down. So I thought I had to click it all the way down, and that requires a lot more pressure because you have to go down and then down again. I thought that's how you had to activate the cruise control, and that does work, but that's not necessarily the case. And so when you're in drive, all you have to do is just go down one like a first click down where there's not that resistance point that clicks. So if I'm in drive right now and I want to go down to Autopilot or engage the cruise control, I just go down once like that, and then I'm in cruise control. If I want to activate the auto steer, you want to make sure you go into Autopilot and then make sure that auto steer is enabled. I think you have to have that in park to be able to activate that. If you want to activate auto steer, that means that it stays in its lane, so it's going to steer, the car is going to steer for you. You still have to keep your hand on the wheel. You still have to give a little bit of pressure on the wheel so that it knows you're paying attention. But if you want to do that, you just go twice down. You don't have to go click it all the way down twice. It's just two soft pushes down, clicks like that. So it's a lot easier to activate the Autopilot or auto steer with just a two light clicks down instead of having to go down doing like two hard clicks all the way down. Anyways, hopefully that makes sense. All right, I'll give you guys kind of a demonstration. Now, one thing, so you probably see on the Tesla website when you go to order a Tesla, you can activate or buy the enhanced Autopilot or full self-driving. Those are the two software upgrade options that you can choose. If you don't choose either of those, it comes with what they call the base Autopilot. You still have the full self-driving computer, but the base Autopilot will still it'll do adaptive cruise control, and then it will steer for you in the lane, which I think is really cool. That's the best part of the feature, is that you can basically drive, the car's kind of driving itself. Now, without enhanced Autopilot, just base Autopilot, when you go to change lanes, it deactivates the auto steer. So when you put on the blinker and you want to change lanes, you're on the freeway and you have auto steer and the adaptive cruise, the Autopilot engaged, it will disengage the auto steer, and then you have to re-engage it. You got to re-engage it to get the auto steer. So I thought that was kind of a hassle. I thought enhanced Autopilot for $6,000 does away with that, because when you put on the blinker, it will change lanes and an auto steer will remain intact. So it's not worth $6,000 though to pay for that. But I want to give you guys an example here. With the stock here, you just have to lightly touch down twice to activate the Autopilot, which it's much easier now that, okay, I just activated it. Just two light taps down. You don't have to go all the way down. It's just two very light touches down, and that'll activate the cruise control and the auto steer. Remember, just one light touch down is going to activate the cruise control. Two down is going to activate the auto steer as well. So the auto steer and the adaptive cruise control together is kind of called the Autopilot system. Now, if I was on the freeway, I'm just on a city road here, but if I wanted to change lanes, if I wanted to get into the center lane or, you know, move over to the right lane, when I turn the blinker on, it lightens the wheel up, I'm able to move over, it disengages the auto steer, and then when I'm in my new lane, I can just tap down twice and it'll re-engage the auto steer. So it's not that bad. If you don't have to push it all the way down every time, that's kind of annoying to have to do that. But the way that I have this new way I've discovered, which probably everyone knows this, but I wanted to pass along this in case you're like me and didn't know that, but being able to just touch this very lightly, you're able to do the double click a lot faster. It's a lot easier. It doesn't require as much effort. I think it's a lot easier. So I'm glad I discovered that. So the point of this video, guys, is to share this little tip with you, and then also to let you know that if you're considering a Tesla and you're like, well, do I want to pay for enhanced autopilot for $6,000 or full self-driving for $15,000? I didn't buy either of those. I bought the base autopilot, just, you know, whatever's included with the car, and that's been fine. It works really good. I really like how it works. So I would say if you're on the fence, I would say probably go without buying it. You can always do the subscription to full self-driving for like $200 a month right now. I would say stick with the base autopilot. One thing that's also counterintuitive when it comes to the autopilot, like disengaging it, is this stalk here that you're using, that you use to engage the drive, reverse, neutral, park, this drive stalk, that's what you're also using for the cruise control. And to disengage the autopilot, I usually just lift up. I just lift up on it and it will disengage it. But sometimes if I hit it, it might want to go into neutral. Sometimes it'll give me the warning, hold it up if I want to go into neutral while I'm driving. So it's kind of weird that you're using the same stalk, like to select the gears, that you're using for the cruise control. But it does make sense that they've kind of used this stalk as a multi-purpose stalk. So those who are new to a Tesla, if you're looking at a Model 3 or Y, that's how it works in the Model 3 or the Y with activating the cruise control. So make sure you have auto steer enabled under autopilot, and then just a light touch, double click down, that's gonna auto steer, and it's gonna do the adaptive cruise control. Driving on like the highway, like long highway drives where you have to stay in the lane and then stay behind the car in front of you, that makes highway driving stressful. This works especially good in commuting situations. If you're in a lot of stop and go traffic, you just put this thing on autopilot, 2 touches down like this, it's gonna stay in front of the car in front of you. It'll go all the way down to 0, and it will still start back up when the car in front of you starts as well. So it works great if you're like in stop and go freeway traffic. You know, if you have to commute in that kind of traffic, activating the autopilot it's fantastic. And I think the included base autopilot in these cars is great. Well, guys, thanks for watching the video. Hopefully I found this tip helpful. If you have any other tips like this, leave them in the comments down below so we all kind of learn and help each other out. But thanks for watching the video. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks.